time for us to talk about the Super Bowl, and I'm delighted to say we've got Mike Carlson back. Mike, good morning to you. How are you?
I'm good. Just getting ready to go to Minneapolis.
Not the easiest place in the world to get to. I think probably a couple of connecting flights, right?
No, it's direct. 10
right.
10 hours direct. I did it last summer with my son. It's not the warmest place to go to in the world, though. It's something like -9 Celsius right now, and it's supposed to be even colder on game day. But of course, the stadium's indoors, so that's not going to matter to the game.
We'd like to introduce you to, maybe you know about this, you're a learned man, well-travelled, so you've probably heard of the concept of Q-tourism. It's a very peculiarly Irish thing, but we think the Pats and their supporters in particular, and the Boston-based analysts have all been Q-touring to beat the band this week.
You know, you've got me there.
Hey, okay.
That's one I've never heard of.
Well, I'm gonna pass you over.
What is it? Q-touring, huh?
Q-touring. Our right. Resident Kerry man here. It's a peculiarly Kerry thing, actually, where you can explain this better on.
Yeah, basically, if you've been wildly successful, Mike, you can afford to do the Q tour on it. Which basically, there's this one term that will endear you to the public in terms of Q tourism, and that is Yera. And I would imagine if the Patriots fans were Irish, they would use the word Yera a lot. They would say, Yera, we'll keep the head down, we'll work away. We maybe don't stand that much of a chance on Sunday. And Ger reckons that's what the Patriots fans have been like all week, that they don't believe that they're going to kill the Philadelphia Eagles, even though that's highly possible.
Yeah, I actually think they're right, and I don't see. If I saw the game going, one-sided, I would think it would be more likely to go one-sided to the Eagles, because I think they're too good a defensive team to let New England jump way out ahead of them, and unlike, say, Jacksonville last week, they're a better coach team, and if they have a lead, they're not going to take their foot off the pedal, and it'll be harder for New England to get themselves back into the game. Compared to Philadelphia fans, New England fans are intensely intelligent and well behaved, and would be a pleasure to have anywhere. But Philadelphia is the kind of place where everybody gets very, very excited and about everything. Sports talk radio in Philadelphia is one of the worst things you'll ever listen to. It's so bitter and so twisted, and it's the kind of place where they throw snowballs at Santa Claus in the football stadium. I remember in the days when they used to throw batteries at baseball players from the stands, at the outfielders. They do this in New York as well, but in Philadelphia, when the fan who threw the battery missed the player, everyone would boo him.
Yeah, they punch horses as well. That's the other latest trend amongst their fans. The reason I'm interested in this notion that if there's going to be a team who wins, clearly that it'll be Philly. How would the game play out for Philadelphia to win with like a 7/10 point margin of victory?
If that happens, they either break a big play against New England's defense early, but more likely they get turnovers like they did in Minnesota. A couple of early turnovers put them up. They got one long touchdown, and now it's 21-7, and they then added 3 points in the last 37 seconds of the first half. Like I said, not taking their foot off the pedal, and that turned the whole game around. Now, the Patriots, as we know, have been down big before, and they're a team that can come back, but it'll be harder for them because I don't think the Eagles will let the clock help the Patriots as much as, say, Atlanta did last year. And you think of the Eagles with their big running backs, with Jay Ajayi from London and LeGarrette Blount, who played for the Patriots last year in the Super Bowl. They could just pound the ball 1, 2, 3, but they'll also be aggressive. Doug Peterson's that kind of coach, and I think it's a fascinating game. I was amazed that the line was so pro New England when it came out, 5.5 points, and I thought that Philadelphia and 5.5 points was a pretty good bet, because if you look back, all the Patriots Super Bowl games have been close, whether they win or lose. And the playoff game against Jacksonville was close. They ran over Tennessee, but Philadelphia is a lot like Jacksonville, a really good defensive team with a good offensive line. Running backs, they had Fournette, but they've got Ajayi and a quarterback who's not considered, up to Tom Brady's standard. But as we saw with Jacksonville, that can get you a ways. I think it's going to be a great Super Bowl.
There's a key moment in the Eagles' journey to the Super Bowl in the game against Atlanta where it looks like Nick Foles, I think it's just before halftime, has thrown a pretty horrible interception, but the ball cannons back off the legs of the defender into the arms of Torrey Smith, who retains possession, gets the first down, and I think they go on and score a field goal just before halftime to close the gap. Maybe I'm wrong about the sequence. Maybe they end up scoring again.
That's about right.
And like
that's a designed play. No, I mean he got lucky, and that's kind of the way it goes, and it lets a quarterback build his confidence. They're playing a game plan that's designed to make it easier for him. His weak point has generally been throwing under pressure in the pocket. So what they're doing is an awful lot of play action passes and a lot of what they call RPOs, run pass option plays, where you'll watch him and he's literally holding the handoff to watch where the linebacker moves. And if the linebacker comes up, he then throws to the spot behind him where a receiver is cutting over. And what that does is takes the pressure off the offensive line to protect him standing in the pocket, because the defense can't just come straight at him. They have to respect that running threat, especially because they've got good running backs. So in that sense, they simplified the game for him and made it easy. And as you saw against Minnesota, he does have a good big arm, and he's not afraid to throw it. Doug Peterson, the coach, has never been afraid to go deep on any down. He kind of his offense tends to have that option on most pass plays. There is at least one deep receiver. That's gonna threaten the Patriots. And even as I say this to you, I go back and forth on this game as to who I would pick, straight up. And I just think the matchup is so good. The Eagles, player for player, are a stronger team. They've got better groups of players, but the Patriots, as we know, are just a phenomenally well-coached team and well-disciplined team. And it's hard sometimes to bet against that.
Talk to us about this Philadelphia defensive line, Mike, because it's their strongest element of the pitch, arguably, but it's also arguable to say that they don't have one standout star there. And does that make Tom Brady's position a little bit more dangerous, that they can't just target one person on the D-line to watch out for those sacks?
Well, they do have Fletcher Cox, and Fletcher Cox will be the guy that they're watching out for. And what they do, and James Schwartz, who started his career as a scout with Bill Belichick before he went to the Ravens, where another Belichick protege, Ozzie Newsome, is in charge. He likes to play with wide defensive ends, and Philadelphia have 4 of them who are all good pass rushers, all probably better natural pass rushers than anyone on the Patriots. One of them is Chris Long, who played for the Patriots last year as well. And he had a couple of big plays in the game against Minnesota. But inside, with Cox and Timmy Jernigan, who they picked up from the Ravens, they've got 2 guys who can both occupy 2 blockers if they want to, or shoot one gap, work one-on-one with somebody. And Cox is a beast. He's one of the better defensive tackles in the league. Jernigan, I think, is highly underrated. The one thing the Patriots will probably do is, because Philadelphia rotate these guys to keep them fresh, and they've got a big space eater called Bo Allen who plays in the middle, they tend to move them constantly. I would expect the Patriots to play more hurry up than they have done in the playoffs, which means not huddling, just lining up at the line of scrimmage to stop Philadelphia from substituting. And especially, I think, if Bo Allen is on the field, because he's not as mobile as the other 2 guys, that's when they'll probably try to hurry up, keep him out there, try to tire them out a bit more, and take advantage of them late. And if you remember back to last year's Super Bowl, conditioning was a huge part of that. And the Patriots offense had some ridiculous number. There was 92 plays on the field, and Atlanta's defense was visibly tired in the fourth quarter. They were hands on knees and huffing and puffing, and that helped the Patriots quite a bit.
Just on the Tom Brady issue, right? Clearly one of the greatest sports people in any sport at any point in history, who he himself, after last year's Super Bowl, claimed that the reason he's so good now is that he's seen everything before, that whatever any defense comes up and puts him through, he looks at it and goes, okay, that's that thing that you've done that time once before, and I remember, okay, you're doing that thing over there, I see exactly what you're doing now. That bit never changes for him, but he still needs the physical ability and the tools to be able to execute when he diagnoses what's coming against him. Has there been any sign this year that he's just off a little bit, or enough for a team like the Eagles to profit?
You know, I think he's been better this year, to be honest, than he was last year. I just saw somebody who charting his throws. He's thrown the ball long more, largely because he has Brandon Cooks as a deep receiver, and they look to Gronk, who hopefully will play. If Gronk doesn't play, things change, but I suspect he will. And he's been phenomenally accurate the whole time. If you watch the comeback against Jacksonville, there's a number of those passes, like the 3rd and 18 pass for 20 yards to Danny Amendola, that are thrown within a really narrow window of where you can put the ball so it will be complete. And he needed good catches to, because those become difficult balls to catch. But his placement was exceptional throughout the game. And so, I think if anything, he's played better this year than he did last year. And I don't think overall this team is as good a team as the team last year against Atlanta, but they may actually be playing better in that sense offensively.
The other issue, I guess, there's been that rumbling story, the ESPN story came out about the breakdown in relationship, or suspected breakdown in relationship. And, in previous years, Deflategate would have happened. Something would have happened in the build-up to the Super Bowl that would have been the main media story. The biggest media story this week is some Boston radio host getting suspended for calling Brady's daughter a pissant. This is in the Tom versus Time thing. The only thing that really struck me from that whole episode was that here is the quarterback of the Patriots on Belichick's team, again, greatest player of all time, doing something which is mildly distracting in the build-up to the Super Bowl. Because obviously he knew that they were going to be in the Super Bowl probably when the season started and the broadcast schedule was released. So Belichick can't be that happy that Tom Brady is making a 7-part series to sell books in the run-up to the Super Bowl.
It's funny, most of the nation hates the Patriots anyway, which is kind of good for football in a sense, but bad for the Patriots. And like you said, with Brady being such a great sportsman, I don't think he actually gets that kind of love or recognition, because some of it just seems too commercial or too artificial or too good to be true, and that's something that in America is almost not taken for granted, but just shrugged off. If guys can promote themselves, they promote themselves, and I think. There were a number of sports writers writing columns at the end of last season, beginning of this season. The only reason Brady was playing was so he could promote his TB12 label and his longevity serums and stuff like that. But I think that kind of misses the point, just like the Wickersham article kind of misses the point. And of course, if Brady retires and Belichick quits right after the Super Bowl, then Seth Wickersham was right, and those of us who didn't think it was such a big thing are wrong. But they're competitors. That's why they've done so well. And, they love the competition. And I suspect that Bill Belichick, knowing that both of his coordinators are going to go, and the last time that happened was when they beat Philadelphia in the Super Bowl in 2005, will see that as a challenge that he wants to overcome, and another generation of coaches, which includes his son. So I don't see him leaving. I see him just saying, okay, this is what I do. This is what I love doing, and I'm going to keep doing that. And I think Brady is probably more or less the same way.
Could I just ask one last question, Mike? Watching Tom versus Time the last couple of days, I'm sure you've been watching it yourself. It seems that Tom Brady is unusually motivated by defeat. I know athletes always say that the defeats last in their memory a lot longer than the wins, but he was watching that Giants match from 2008 in Tom versus Time. It could have been a facade, but part of me thinks that he really, he's still suffering from that incomplete pass to Randy Moss.
Was it the I didn't see it. Was it the Moss pass or was it the one to Wes Welker? Because the pass, they could have won the game if he and Welker connect on this pass where Welker's open about 20 yards downfield, and he throws it to the wrong side, and Welker turns around and alligator arms it. And that's the one I'd be watching over and over. Yeah. In the 2007 game with Moss, Asante, the play before David Tyree catches the ball on his head, Asante Samuel drops an interception. Eli Manning throws it right into his chest, and Samuel can't control it. So it's like if those two plays go the other way, New England might win those games. And yeah, if I were Brady, I'd probably watch them over and over again and just wonder. But it's the kind of thing, like Jared was saying with the Nick Foles play, the bounce back pass to Torrey Smith. Those are the kind of things that turn games, and then we kind of forget about them and say, this team's the greatest team ever, and those guys are losers. But really, the difference is just one or two plays, where sometimes it's, you just can't determine how the ball goes.
Have you made
listening to you guys before I came on? Yeah, wouldn't it be great if the NFL teams had selection committees?
Oh, yeah.
And Bill Belichick couldn't choose his starting lineup. He had to have like Bob Kraft and four other guys choosing the lineup for him.
Don't Dallas have one of those?
Yeah, it's Jerry Jones and his son.
Come here, have you actually made your straight up pick? It sounds like you're leaning towards the Eagles.
I'm probably going to pick the Eagles, I think. But I have to do that as soon as I hang up with you guys. I'll have to write that column and do it. So, tune into NFL UK, NFLUK.com. It'll go up sometime in the next couple of days. I think they're all off in Minnesota, so when they get it and then put it up on the website, it'll be there. But at the moment, I'm leaning toward Philadelphia, but I haven't flipped my coin yet.
Enjoy your trip, whatever way the coin lands. Mike, great to have you with us. Thanks very much.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks a million for watching. If you want to subscribe, well, there's the button right there. If you want to see more videos, hit that down there.